Hi, I'm Lynn. Today I'd like to show you this great method I came across for making an I-cord. I've always had trouble with I-cords because I tend to have a lot of tension problems with my work, both in knitting and crochet and in making my stitches really tight, and then overcompensating and making them too loose. So when I needed some drawstrings for the mesh bags I was making, I planned on just using simple crochet chains, but they weren't as easy to pull through all the holes as I'd hoped. So I started looking online for other ways to make drawstrings. That's when I found Sue Perez's crazy simple 2-stitch crochet I-cord method. I've put a link in the description so you can check out her blog. It's really cool and her method is so easy. Now I did still have some tension issues, but I found a couple of quick workarounds that straightened it right out. So let's take a look at how to do Sue Perez's crazy simple 2-stitch crochet I-cord. I'm going to be using 2 crochet hooks. You could use 2 identical hooks if you have them, but I only have 1 hook in each size. So I'll be using 2 different sizes. I also have this smaller 3.75mm hook, and you'll see why in just a minute. I've found that it really helps to use a larger one than you would typically use for your yarn weight as the second hook. So I'll be using 6mm and 4.25mm hooks with this worsted yarn. I'm going to go ahead and make a slip knot and put that on the 4.25mm. Now I'll just chain 1 stitch normally, maybe even a little tighter than normal. If you also knit and have done a provisional crochet cast on or a chain cast on, this next step is going to be really familiar. I'm going to take the second hook and just hold on to it like this. Then I'll chain around the second hook and keep adding stitches to it. Oh, it's important to use a straight hook as the second one. It won't work if you use one with a handle, but you could use an ergonomic style handle for the first hook. You could also use a double-pointed needle as the second hook. I just find it easier to use another crochet hook. If I were making an entire drawstring, I'd do enough stitches to fill up the whole second hook, but for now this should be good. I'll take the working loop and drop it onto the second hook. Now I'll turn the hook around. The tail end of my yarn is here, and you can see the back of the first chain stitch. Here's where that smaller hook comes in. I'm going to use this hook to get under the back part of the first chain, from bottom to top, like this. You might be able to use the main hook, but if your stitch is a little tight, like mine is, the smaller hook makes it tons easier. I do it this way because otherwise the start of my I-cord tends to be a little too loose. Now that I have the back of the first chain on the smaller hook, I'll drop this first stitch off the back end of the second crochet hook and pick it up, bottom to top, with the smaller hook. Then just pull it through the first loop, and that's it. I'll switch back to my main hook now because it's easier to grab the yarn with. For the next stitch, we'll do the same thing. Drop it off the back of the second crochet hook, pick it up with the main hook, and pull it through. I keep all of the stitches held on the back end of the hook like this, kind of like a knitting needle, because if I drop them all off and then try to pick them up, my tension gets weird. Somehow after a few stitches, the rest get really tight and I have trouble getting the hook through them. So this way keeps the tension nice and even, and we get this great looking I-cord. I'll keep working like this until I only have 3 stitches left on the second hook. When I've pretty much run out of stitches here, I can just add more to make my I-cord longer. I'll take this loop and stick it back on the end of the second hook. Then turn the hook around, take the top working loop off, put it back on the main hook, and continue chaining around the second hook, just like before. Once the second hook is full again, put the working loop back on it at the top, turn it around, and pick up that last loop. Now it's important to remember that the last loop, the one that was already pulled through another loop, is backwards compared to the other stitches on the back of the hook. If this were knitting, I'd say pick it up purlwise and pick up the other stitches knitwise. I'm not as familiar with crochet terms, so I'll say you want to pick it up just as it comes off the back of the hook. The other stitches are going to twist slightly as you drop them off. Then continue picking up those stitches and pulling them through the second loop. When the I-cord is as long as I need it, I just pull the working loop through the last remaining stitch, then break the yarn and pull that end through the working loop as well. You can see the I-cord worked this way is very smooth and even, and it's so much faster to work than sliding the stitches back and forth on double-pointed needles. It's actually fun, and now I don't dread making these anymore. That's Sue Perez's crazy simple 2-stitch crochet I-cord.